Guys, it was a long day today, but a very productive day. Yes. So, I'm doing this video for, everybody, but specifically for instructors. I just wanted to share with other instructors how I set up my classroom for foot care. And you can also do the same for hand and nail care and even urinary output. If you're with Pearson VUE or Credentia, or empties, urinary drainage bag and measures and records urinary output if you're with Prometric. So I'm going to turn the camera around so you all can see. So you can see that I have a linen hamper and trash cans at either end of the aisle. And then I have my chairs set up. I already have the supplies in the basin. So you can see I have the lotion and soap. I have the 2 washcloths and the 2 towels. Okay, the only thing that I don't have in the basin is, the pair of gloves. Okay, and the reason I didn't put the gloves in the basins is because every student, right, they wear different size gloves. So when they actually came in today, I had them to collect their gloves. And then at the same time, they all practice performing foot care. All right. And I set it up this way for one main reason. That one main reason is time efficiency, right? Because I know that, as an instructor, we're all cramped for time, right? It's depending, especially depending on how long your class period is. Now, if you're teaching like an adult class, those classes usually last anywhere from 3 to 4 hours to a full 6 or 8 hour day, right? But if you're teaching in a high school like I am, thank goodness, this class is a block period, so it's actually 2 periods. So we, excuse me, actually have about an hour and a half for for the class period. But it's time efficient because you're able to get more than just a handful of students practicing the skill all at once. And the way that I'm going to turn the camera around again, the way I have the chairs structured, I'm able to see all of the students who are performing foot care simultaneously. That way I'm able to make any corrections or suggestions or give advice to each individual student who is performing the skill. So that's why I have the chairs set up as I do, okay? And then again, like I said, I have a linen hamper and trash can at either end of the aisle, okay? So why do I have my supplies already in the basin? Because it will help my students and your students to remember and to retain what supply items that they'll need to collect for this skill. So instead of, it takes a lot of time. Like if you have, only 2 beds or 1 bed, to try to train your students and you have supplies in, one specific area, doing, having 1 or 2 students practice at a time is not very time consuming. So if you do it this way, you'll get more than a handful of students being able to perform the skills simultaneously. If you structure your chairs the way that I have structured mine, the placement of them, you'll be able to see the students individually, as they perform. But yeah, so this is it. Now, just keep in mind, like with Prometric, as an instructor, I tell my students, I want you all to keep in mind that, this skill is performed at the bedside. The acting resident will be seated in a chair at the bedside, so you'll have all your supplies, right there with you. And I tell them how to collect their supplies, right? So the very first thing you want to collect is that clean barrier. Place it on the floor. Once you get that clean barrier on the floor, you'll gather the remaining supply items, and then go ahead and place your supply items on top of that clean barrier that's on the floor, right? If you're with Pearson View or Credentia, I'm not sure about how if Headmaster has their acting resident in the bed or a chair, but for Pearson View or Credentia, just tell your students that the acting resident will be lying down in the bed. Now, for Pearson View and Credentia, the testing candidate can either perform foot care while, the person is lying down in bed, or they have the choice to sit the person up on the side of the bed and then perform foot care. But for Prometric, the person is going to be seated in a chair at the bedside. So I'm going to turn my camera around again so y'all can take another look at how I have it set up. I gave y'all the reasons why I set it up like this and why I already have, the supply items gathered and in the basin, except for the gloves, right? So if you're an instructor and you like this, the way that I have it set up for foot care, leave a comment below this video. If you may have, already set your classroom up like this for this skill, foot care. If you do, let me know, how it has helped you time-wise, and also with retainment-wise, for your students, being able to remember the supply items and the steps. If you haven't, but you plan on to, you may look at this video and say, hey, you know what? Nurse John, this is a good idea. I think I'm going to try it, right? If you do, let me know. Let me know how it turns out, okay? So, guys, I'm going to get ready to go. I think I told y'all everything I wanted to tell y'all. So, ciao.